Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Cup Council. How are we all? Hopefully, all of you are having a fantastic Friday wherever we are around the world. And welcome back to our match preview show for Liverpool v Arsenal. Of course, it is normally a top of the table clash between the two sides as of late. Of course, obviously, both sides have been pretty much title rivals, haven't we, over the last couple of seasons? But again, new season, and I think it will be the same. I think Liverpool and Arsenal will most likely be the top two for the season. But still, of course, there's also Manchester City, Chelsea as well, and even Spurs at the moment as well that are in the title fight, at least at the moment anyway. But let me know how all of you are down in the comments, and let me know your guys' thoughts down in the comments as well. Let me know your guys' thoughts on the game, start 11 predictions, score predictions, all of that good stuff as well anyway. And of course, if you are new around here, do hit that like button and hit that subscribe button as well. Be very much appreciated as always. But big up Cal as well, saying hello, hopefully doing well, mate. And yeah, let me know your score predictions down in the comments, because I think it will be a tough game. Obviously Liverpool Arsenal over the last couple of years, Arsenal certainly at the Emirates has got the better of us. I think obviously last season, I think the game at Anfield, obviously Liverpool had already wrapped up the league title and was pretty much on holidays, but still, I think certainly in that first half, Liverpool really established themselves. Even still, even on the beach, Liverpool can beat Arsenal, or of course take the fight towards this Arsenal side, because I think obviously Mo Salah has been speaking, hasn't he, to the media, and according to him, he sees Arsenal as the favourites to, of course, go on to win the league title. Of course, Mo loves to play mind games, but I think when you do look at Arsenal's squad, it is probably the what's the right word? The most complete squad, I'd say, at the moment, because again, obviously with the transfer window still up in the air at the minute, of course, we don't know yet who's signing, who's not signing in terms of Liverpool. Of course, we don't know if, again, we don't know if Alexander Isak's going to join Liverpool. We don't know if Mark Guehi's going to join Liverpool. So, again, there are obviously a bit of notable gaps there for Liverpool. But I think for Arsenal, of course, they've signed their new number 9. They've signed, obviously, Eze as well, and other players that we will get into in a little bit, because, again, I want to talk a little bit about Arsenal. And I think this year, more than ever, it's huge pressure on Mikel Arteta to get the job done, to win a major trophy for them, because again, look, you can't keep spending and spending and not walking away with the big trophies. And of course, I want to talk about that. Well, we're going to kickstart the show talking about it, but again, I want to talk in depth about it with you guys as well. But a big up hero as well. I think evening all time to turn it on against the Ars as well. Yeah, absolutely. Arsenal have probably has probably looked the strongest of last season's top 3, but we are at Anfield, and let's make it count as well. Yeah, absolutely. But look, don't get me wrong, Arsenal. Look, if Man United could finish in that game, Man United win that game on the opening day, and look, they beat Leeds, at the Emirates. Look, it was impressive. It was impressive the way they did it. But let's not get carried away with this Arsenal team. Let's have a look what they do against Liverpool. Let's have a look what they do against City. Because, again, that's the thing for me, where for Arsenal, but in particular, Arsenal fans love to have this record, or love to have this thought process of, oh, well, we're unbeaten against the top 6, or we've got this many points against the top 6. It's probably the most out of anyone in that regard. Well, where's your league title from it then? Where's your major trophy from it? I can't see it anyway. Can you guys see it anyway? Because I definitely can't. And that's the thing, where all the talk of Arsenal fans in particular, and I think obviously the level-headed ones are not all about this, but when they start talking about being unbeaten against the big 6 for the last 3 seasons, and I'm like, and the thing is, I've always said this, certainly with Liverpool going for league titles, you have to beat the title rivals away from home. You have to. We've done it. Look at the 2 league titles that we've won in recent years. We beat Manchester City away from home. Look at the previous seasons. We were unable to do that. Again, we would always draw, or City would end up beating us. Our record at the Etihad wasn't that great over the last couple of years. But last season we did that. We went to the Etihad and we outplayed Manchester City. And that's for me what Arsenal are missing. Arsenal are lacking that killer instinct in terms of taking the opportunity. Like, look, Arsenal, like last season, if I was an Arsenal fan, the games against City away earlier on in the season when City had Rodri go off injured, and they had the upper hand on them, and what they do, they sat back. I was like, go for the jugular, and that's the. If I was an Arsenal fan, I'd be fuming about that, because in my opinion, that's what you have to do if you want to go and win league titles. You have to go and win the big games away from home. Arsenal did it back, in the 2000s when they went to Old Trafford and got 3 points. It like even now, Liverpool at Anfield, obviously a big up Doug as well in the chat. But like Doug said, they're 13 years since they beat us, and again, I don't see that changing on Sunday. I really don't, because Mikel Arteta's Arsenal lack the killer instinct. Now, if they are, let's say, 1-0 up at half time, they'll sit back and defend that. They won't capitalize on it. They'll sit back and try and ride it out, really, which again you cannot do against against top teams. You cannot do that, and this is why I think this season more than ever, in my honest opinion, I think Mikel Arteta is so much under pressure. I want to talk about this a bit more, because I do in my opinion, I think Mikel Arteta is under massive pressure at Arsenal to succeed now this season. He has to succeed at Arsenal. The amount of money that they have spent over the last 5 years, again, and look, now there is no more excuses. You've got your striker, you've got your attacking midfielder, you've bought your wingers, you've bought your DM. You tried to make out that oh look, we've made them not go to Liverpool or not go to any other club to join Arsenal, and then we're going to go and win the league title or go on to win the Champions League. Go and do it then, and that for me is the big one. You have to go on now and put your money where your mouth is, because if Arsenal don't do that, then Mikel Arteta should be sacked. And this is the thing where people will look at that and go, oh, you can't sack him. And look, Arsenal fans will, from what I've just said, will be fuming about that. They'll be thinking, oh, you can't sack Mikel Arteta. Yes, you can, because at the end of the day, all we have seen from Arsenal fans in particular, and I think the majority of them have been, we want to win trophies. We want to win the big one. Look, Mikel Arteta won an FA Cup in his first season. That's fair enough, but he's not progressed from that. He's not developed from that at all, again. And I personally think last season was their best opportunity to go on and win a league title. Liverpool was supposed to be having, a rebuild. City fell off. Chelsea didn't take advantage of it either. Arsenal had the perfect opportunity. And look, they'll turn around and go, oh, but we had injuries and this, that, and the other. Look, Arsenal will never top of the Premier League once last season. Manchester United had more of an argument to winning the league title than Arsenal Football Club. And that's the difference for me, where I talk about that killer instinct. And for me, Mikel Arteta lacks that. He lacks that killer instinct where, again, you'd go for the jugular, end the game, and I don't think he has that. I really don't. And I don't know whether or not if I'm the only one that agrees, thinks of that. I don't know if you guys think of that as well, but in my honest opinion, I do think Mikel Arteta lacks a killer instinct in terms of his managerial capability of, let's say they are 1-0 up at Anfield, or they're 2-1 like there was last season away to the Etihad, and they didn't take advantage of it. They just sat back and continued doing that same type of football of, let's absorb all the pressure and then we'll counter, or we'll try and beat them off set pieces. And that is the major difference between Liverpool, City and Arsenal. Arsenal are not Manchester City, and they're not Liverpool in that aspect of things, where Liverpool will go. Look at it on Monday night. Yes, Liverpool terrible to obviously from a 2-0 lead, and also a man up as well in the advantage to Newcastle. Liverpool then go down the other end, and probably the first time in that game that Liverpool actually play a bit of football, they go on to score, and Rio Ngamoa ends up becoming an absolute superstar overnight. And look, Liverpool then get 3 points away from home at St James's Park, which, by the way, Mikel Arteta has not yet done it as Arsenal manager. I don't believe anyway, but certainly in recent years he has not won at St James's Park. So look, Arne Slot's already winning life in that regard as well. Anyway, but let me know your guys' thoughts, of course, down in the comments. But Kaz says 2-1 Liverpool. Let's humble Arsenal again. Hopefully, hopefully, mate. Doug says 13 years since they beat us as well at Anfield. Yes, absolutely. Look, I don't think they beat us again, but it will be a very, very tough game for sure. There's no other stadium like Anfield. Let's be real. We can be shite and beat you 7-0 like 2023 with United. Yeah, absolutely. I believe Arsenal won it. Did they? I didn't think they did, to be fair. How much are we spending this weekend? 170 million on 2 players, hopefully. Hero. But yeah, if there is any news on Alexander Isak, sorry, again, apologies, we haven't been live much this week. Again, now I want to apologize because again, not many people in the channel, because again, I realize that, but this, I've had to have new phone, I've had account problems. Everything broke after the Newcastle game, pretty much. So basically, I couldn't do anything for a couple of days. So now everything's fine. Obviously, things should be back to normal. But yeah, basically, I was locked out of everything for pretty much 3 or 4 days. So yeah, hopefully everything's back to normal and we can do content again. But yeah, no, the plan is for obviously tomorrow. Hopefully there's some news on Alexander Isak. I really hope it is. But yeah, plan is obviously tomorrow transfer show. We'll talk a bit about it. Hopefully. About obviously Isak, maybe Mark Gahey as well. We'll also discuss then obviously Sunday then is the match. We'll talk about post-match, for example. But Monday will be a deadline day show, but it will be early. It will be, I think we're going to be live at 6 o'clock, 6 till 7. Because again, the deadline closes at 7, which is weird. It is weird to not be live, going on 11, 12 o'clock in the night, talking about transfers. But still, we'll take that. But at the end of the day, possibly could end up being a very expensive end to the window for Liverpool. Hopefully, fingers crossed. Anyway, Hero, to be fair. But if we take a look then at the game itself, then of course it is 4:30 on Sunday night, as you guys can see. But there, obviously the injury list for Arsenal, as you guys can see. But there, of course, obviously Ben White potentially doubt for the game. But Bukayo Saka is the huge miss for Arsenal. He is out with a hamstring injury. He is it's said to be 4 weeks. But again, obviously with an international break coming up after the game, again, it's pretty much a 2-week injury for Arsenal. But again, obviously Christian Nordgaard, obviously got a knock. Gabriel Jesus out. Martin Odegaard, I believe, will be fit for the game, even though it does say that he will be a doubt. And obviously Kai Havertz just got surgery, I believe, yesterday or the day before, with injuries. Again, for Liverpool, as you guys can see with it, Alexis McAllister is fit. He is available for Arsenal. Arne Slot did confirm that today in the post-match, for the press conference. There we go. I couldn't think of it, or what it was called then. But he did confirm, obviously, again, Jeremy Frimpong out injured, but no new injuries as well, which is good news. And Conor Bradley has trained all week as well. So again, could possibly see Conor Bradley started right back for Liverpool, even though Dom Szoboszlai had a really good game against Newcastle as well. But looking at the forms then of the two teams, like we mentioned, Arsenal so far this season beating Man United away 1-0 and Leeds United 5-0, which again, 2 clean sheets back to back. And on the other hand, Liverpool in that aspect of things, obviously 4-2 against 10 men Bournemouth and 3-2 against 10 men Newcastle. So on a Liverpool side of things, we need to get our act together, because again, conceding sloppy and poor goals against a team that has 10 men again is not good for us, and look, we need to do a lot better in my opinion, anyway. But look, when we talk about starting 11 predictions, then for me, I think when we talk about it, obviously the biggest conversation is who starts in midfield. For Liverpool, I think, again, people will talk about Dom Szoboszlai, Alexis McAllister, Ryan Gravenberch, obviously Florian Wirtz as well. I think, look, coming into this game, I think a lot of rival fans have kind of gone on the back of Florian Wirtz a bit unnecessarily, in my opinion. I think, look, don't get me wrong, obviously Florian Wirtz will become a target just because of the price tag and what Liverpool paid for him. But look, this is the annoying part about it, right? Florian Wirtz will be amazing for Liverpool. I have absolutely no doubt about that. If Liverpool are able to play football against Arsenal, which we will be able to, again, we will see the best of Florian Wirtz in this game. In my opinion, the way to beat Arsenal is to press the hell out of Martin Zubimendi. Look, Zubimendi is really, really good. He's a really good footballer going forward. If he has his back, or has his front, towards his own goal, press the living daylight out of him. Again, you've seen it a little bit against Leeds where he couldn't, it took him about 15, 20 minutes to really get adjusted to the game and obviously deal with, the press that Leeds did pretty much well for the first 15, 20 minutes. And then, of course, it fell apart. But I think with a counter-pressing team like Liverpool, that, again, will counter-press the hell out of Arsenal, I think that's the perfect situation. You counter-press Martin Zubimendi, and that's how you get the best, or that's how you beat Arsenal in that regard. And with that being said, who do you start in the attacking midfielder role? Do you start Dominic Szoboszlai, or do you start Florian Wirtz and potentially play Florian Wirtz maybe on the left? That's obviously an option for Liverpool at the moment. I don't necessarily think we'll end up doing that. I think Florian Wirtz is Liverpool's number 10 for the season. There is still the question mark, though, about do you start Dom because Macca's fitness problems at the moment, is the fact he's not 100%. Again, never had really a preseason, did he? And again, for him playing, 90 minutes against Bournemouth, he ends up missing Newcastle. So it's really a question mark of, can Macca, number one, start, and B, how long can he play for if he does come off the bench? Because again, even though Arne Slot said today that he can play against Arsenal, he's pretty much fully fit, but how much match fit is he? Because again, against Bournemouth, he had to play because we didn't have a number 6 available, because again, Ryan Gravenberch had a suspension. So with that being said, there's question marks around it. In my honest opinion, my team for Arsenal would be Alisson in goal. It would be Conor Bradley, Ibu Konate, Virgil van Dijk, Milos Kerkez. It would be Ryan Gravenberch, Alexis McAllister if he is fit, and then Florian Wirtz, and then the front three of Cody Gakpo, Hugo Ekitike, and Mohamed Salah. That would be my team for the game, of course. Let me know your guys' thoughts. But yeah, and again, I want to really talk about Hugo Ekitike as well, because I think he'll be immense against Arsenal again. But Cal's gone Alisson, Bradley, Konate, Van Dijk, Robbo, Grav, Macca, Szoboszlai, Wirtz, Salah, Ekitike. So you've gone Wirtz on the left, Cal, as well. I'd be surprised. I would be surprised if he did play on the left, to be honest. But again, we'll have to wait and see. He's just got to grow into the skin of the Premier League. Yeah, and that's the thing. But I've already seen people write him off completely. And this is the thing, right? People forget not every single player is going to just walk into the league and be absolutely amazing. Don't get me wrong. We'd love that. Everyone would love that type of similar situation of Luis Diaz coming into the football club and his first 6 months of the club that were electric. He absolutely settled into the Premier League and took the league by storm. But that's the problem. I think everyone has that expectation of, because Liverpool spent the money, he has to hit the ground running from day one. Look, Florian Wirtz will be amazing for Liverpool. I have no doubt about that. But his first 2 games against Bournemouth and Newcastle away, again, it's a very difficult game. And plus, I think Arne Slot spoke about it today, and I think what he said was perfect. The ball was only in play for 40% of that game. and the majority of it was aerial duels. Like, look at Virgil van Dijk. Virgil van Dijk's numbers against Newcastle were unbelievable. Like, hang on, I'm going to quickly find the where's SofaScore on my phone? I'll quickly find the ratings for Virgil van Dijk. So there you go. So Virgil van Dijk in the Newcastle game had 78 touches in that game, 87% possession, in terms of accurate balls. Whereas we have 13 clearances, one interception, and again, that's the thing where defensively we had to be solid. And look, Virgil van Dijk, in my opinion, was very solid against Newcastle, even though SofaScore's given him 6.9, which I don't agree with at all. I thought Virgil, apart from maybe Dom, was my man of the match for the game. But Karlsson, Szoboszlai, and Ekitike up top as well could potentially be the case as well. But look, for score predictions, then look, don't get me wrong. In my opinion, I think it'll be a close game. I really, really do. I think the problem is, right, Arsenal. There's two ways I think Arsenal will do it, right. Number one's the set pieces. Look at Newcastle. Newcastle's game plan was perfect, down to a T. And they utilised their set pieces against Liverpool. Liverpool, for some reason, certainly Ibrahim Konate, could not deal with Dan Burn. That's probably something that Mikel Arteta will look at and try and utilise. Again, obviously, beating Manchester United with a set piece. And that's, again, we know that's the Arsenal way under Mikel Arteta, is set piece again. But I think, like we've seen at the back end of last season, Liverpool can break through this Arsenal team. And I think we can do it. And now with Florian Wirtz's passing range as well, I think, and again, unlike the Newcastle game, we will be able to play a bit of football. The first time, in my opinion, like in that game, the Liverpool actually played a bit of football was the goals that we scored. Liverpool, apart from that, didn't really do anything in terms of actually playing football because, again, there was a lot of set pieces and ground duels and aerial duels, for example, as well, that Liverpool, won at times, but again, did struggle. I think against Arsenal, it's not going to be that type of game. It will be very back and forth. It will be very counter-attack-esque in terms of, again, the transition for both teams. But I think, in my opinion, Liverpool will get the upper hand on Arsenal. I think we beat them. I think we beat them 2-1. That's my prediction. I think in terms of goals, probably Mo Salah and who else? Hugo Ekitike. He's currently on a goal scoring. What's the right word? Consistency. In terms of the goals, he's got 3 and 3 at the minute. I think he'll get another one as well. So I think for me, I'm going to go 2-1 because again, Arsenal don't tend to concede more than 2. Even if it is away from home, but still, I think the crowd on Sunday as well will be huge. And this is a huge game. This is a huge game for the title. I've already seen Arsenal fans say if they end up winning at Anfield, then they feel like they can go and win the title, for example. And look, I can't argue against that. Like I said earlier on in the Mikel Arteta piece, I think for me, that's the thing where the clear difference is if Liverpool win, again, it's too early to talk about, we're going to go and win the league title. But still, that psychological value of, we've beat Arsenal very, very early on. And that's the other thing where I just mentioned, like, yes, they've beat Manchester United, but they beat Leeds at home. But this is the thing on the Liverpool side of things. We have beaten Bournemouth, who are a very good team, by the way. We've beat Bournemouth. We've then gone on to beat Newcastle United away from home as well. And then we've gone on to beat Arsenal. It's a very, very good start for Liverpool for the Premier League, to defend the title. Then, of course, but look, that's just my opinion anyway. But Hero's gone 1-3-3-3 formation. For bloody hell. But Carl's gone Liverpool 1-0, 40th minute 1-1 Arsenal. Well, hopefully, I'm going 2-1 Liverpool, in my opinion. Carl's gone 2-1 that day, basically. I think that they're gonna miss Bukayo Saka, but I think the big one as well as Martin Odegaard. I think Odegaard. It'd be interesting though because of Eze. You know, where does he play in this Arsenal team? I'm really intrigued to see where he plays for him because he could end up playing left wing. He could play as an attacking midfielder. I know that people, certainly Arsenal fans have gone like, oh, he is a left winger, but then when you look at it, you know, I think Eze is quite similar to Florian Wirtz, where yes, at the previous clubs they played more on the left, but I think they are perfect for number 10 roles. I think Eze is perfect for Arsenal for number 10. But look, is he going to dislodge Martin Odegaard? That's the other question. But look, there's no excuses for Arsenal, in my opinion. Arsenal can't turn around and blame, they can blame refs, they can blame injuries, they can blame wherever they want. For me, there is no excuses for them now this season. I think what Mo Salah said was correct. People will look at their squad and go, they are favourites. And look, many people will do that. My opinion, I think if Liverpool get Mark Gahey and they go and sign Alexander Isak, I think Liverpool are favourites to win this league title. And yeah, look, if Liverpool do end up signing Alexander Isak before the window closes on Monday night, then look, I think Liverpool do have a really, really, really good chance of winning the Premier League yet again. But Carl's gone Arsenal, play 4-2-3-1, Raya, Timber, Saliba, Gabriel, Calafiori, Zubimendi, Rice, Martinelli, Eze, Madueke, and Gyökeres. Yeah, the one thing I would say though as well, I would be really intrigued if Havertz wasn't injured, whether or not he would go Gyökeres or he'd go Havertz up top. I would be really intrigued to see who he'd go for. I think he'd end up going Havertz, in my opinion. But look, he doesn't have that choice now, really, does he? Because again, Havertz's knee is shot to pieces anyway. But look, I am going to leave it there for tonight, guys. Big thank you for all of you guys for tuning in to tonight's show. Again, apologies, there's been no shows this week. Again, I wanted to do a few, but like I said, unfortunately, everything broke. All the accounts, basically my phone broke, so I had to re-sign into everything and then get everything sorted. And yeah, now it obviously works. And if anybody doesn't know that, it does have the team from Newcastle. Because again, I can't find one for the league title. Anyway, but no, look, I'm looking forward to Sunday. And like I said, if Liverpool win, I think it's a massive step for winning number 21, of course. But look, let me know your guys' thoughts on the repeat. I know people do watch it on the replay as well, so let me know your guys' thoughts down in the comments down below anyway. But yeah, until next time, guys, that's going to be it from me. I've been Connor from the Club Council. I'll see you guys later. Ta-ra.